Sometimes I feel like these streaming services don't care. They just pump out original content on an assembly line. They don't care if it's all cliched and just fine. Not even taking any chances. Doing anything other than giving us a bunch of content. If you see some bodyguards, you need to stomp them out. Do 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 do. And if you see Betty, you need to tell her go back to Al. A Merry Little Xmas. EX. See, do you get it? Do you get that subtle detail? It's a Netflix original that's directed by the guy that did Paul Blart Mall Cop, as well as Movie 43 and Daddy Daycare. Go look at his IMDb page. You might actually be very fucking surprised by just how much slop Steve Carr has put out. It's also written by Holly Hester, not to be confused with Holly Hunter, who has done television and some others, and did The Royal Treatment. I believe that was another Netflix original. I think I watched it. I don't actually remember, because I have watched well over 1,000 movies since the beginning of 2020. That doesn't include rewatches, by the way. That just includes stuff released in that calendar year. So yeah, here's one of Netflix's, I believe, 4 new Christmas movies, new in quotations. We have Alicia Silverstone as Kate, who gave up on her architectural dream to go live with her husband Everett in a small town somewhere in Massachusetts, somewhere possibly in New Hampshire. I don't really fucking know. And I don't really fucking care. It's called Winterlight. Because, you know, Christmas movie. Yeah, I'm wearing a hat, by the way, just in case you couldn't tell. And it says, if I got a story to tell you, it's a Christmas story. You don't say, with a title like Merry Little Xmas. Look, I recognize that these films are made to be inoffensive and basically be like a sitcom without the laugh track, but the thing is, you still need to have laughs or originality or at least some effort put in, or you can just churn out a bunch of goddamn jokes with a story so thin that it is stretching for time within the first 30 minutes. I mean, this is just such slop. It is so boring. It is so bland. Again, inoffensive, but Kate and Everett had kids. They grew apart. And now they both have others that they are interested in dating, but maybe the holidays will bring them back together. Spoiler, it does, because I don't really care about spoiling this movie. I mean, I'll talk about things in the spoiler section, but this is the kind of stuff that some people recommend that I watch. And yes, I've gotten recommendations from you guys to watch good stuff. The thing is, this is a 285th movie that I have seen this year. I am shockingly 52 away from tying last year's total. And unless major, incidents occur, or unless, I don't know, there's an act of, whatever, fictitious supreme being there is, whatever happens, I plan on beating that 337 movie mark. In fact, I will probably be over 300 before the end of this month, because we are only halfway through November, and there's Wicked for Good, there's The Rental Family, there's Sentimental Value that I have been waiting a fucking age to see, and Sisu, Road to Revenge, as well as other stuff, such as Zootopia 2. They should have called Zootopia, except that wouldn't have made sense. All this is more interesting than A Very Merry Xmas. So, yeah, separate a couple, they call it unconsciously uncoupling, or consciously uncoupling. I felt like drinking myself unconscious while watching this, and look, Alicia Silverstone, I'm just glad that she's having a career renaissance, so to speak. Melissa Joan Hart is in this. Jamila Jamil is in this. That's a very repetitive name. Did her parents hate her? She's a beautiful woman. And Emily Hall plays the daughter Sienna. There are other characters in this. There's 2 dads. Yes, Everett was raised by, I believe Everett was played by Oliver Hudson, if I remember right, not Oliver Reed's liver. Oh, great, what am I now, fried wonton? Let me just make more sub-references here, because, again, more interesting than what's going on here. So he was raised by 2 dads, and those 2 dads own a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone shop that basically does Christmassy stuff, and it's like your one-stop shop that all these small towns seem to have. Granted, the stuff has to be made to order or ordered and shipped in, but they still always find a way to give those neighbors and give good people their stuff. So, yeah, Alicia Silverstone also is more of an environmentalist, kind of turning her architectural work into helping people, such as coming up with environmentally safe ways, having a lot of solar panels. Damn it, Rod. You know, the 50% discount really helped, but then Birdemic came along and coat hangers were needed to do this. Again, more sub-references. There's a character also named Nigel. I have nothing against the actor, but he is so stereotypically British. He is a Harry Potter tour guide. And Tess, played by the very pretty Jamila, by the way. I do have to say that. She's very pretty. Not really given much to do, but she tries in this. Yeah, everybody is just a generic caricature. None of this is funny. And basically the idea is, will they, won't they? Will, Kate go off on her dream to go to Boston to take on a new architecture job? And will Everett live happily ever after with Tess? Will Alicia Silverstone, who, by the way, I think is only in her mid-40s. She's not much older than me. I don't think, at least. Trying to remember what her age is. She's a couple years older than me, maybe. But will she, end up with a nice guy named Chet Pearson Fode, however you say it? That name rings a bell. I didn't bother to write down any other movies he's in. He's very much a Chet-looking guy in that he's in great shape. He does, exotic dancing stuff. He does a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. I'm probably spoiling a bunch of this stuff, but I don't really fucking care because the movie has nothing new to offer. And while, again, inoffensive, it does refer to it shows that they refer to each other as Betty and Al, hence the opening song. By the way, they needle drop that at the end of the movie. So I'll just get into spoilers here, even though I've spoiled pretty much everything. I don't care. 3, 2, 1, it's on Netflix. Spoilers. So basically, everybody's upset that Kate is going to end up leaving, but she doesn't want to tell everybody because she doesn't want to ruin Christmas. Her kids go off with Tess and Everett because Tess is lavishing them with gifts. They recently met after she twisted her ankle, and Everett took care of her because Everett is a doctor. And they're going to end up together. But there's also the thing, unfollow, ghost, and block, like cut off, your exes and stuff like that. Tess has a problem with the fact that he's kind of friendly with his ex. But obviously they're just consciously uncoupling, and Kate wants to do good stuff, especially since her daughter Sienna was in college, met the boy Nigel, the Harry Potter tour guide, so goddamn stereotypical. And Gabe is her son is going to go out to college, and she wanted him to write an essay because he's going to go out to college. He wants to stay and be a firefighter in the small town. None of this is funny. I hate everyone. I wrote a lot of notes. Betty and Al. Be my... I mean, they had to spell it out and everything, but it's like the Al Gore, Betty, whatever. But really, it's, you can call me Al. I can't stand this. Help. Dear God, help me. Help me, Spock, help me. It's like, you said you wanted a normal Christmas. I'm bringing the normal. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the problem with this movie. I'm not saying try anything grand and, totally new. You can stick to well-worn tropes if you actually try to make a movie instead of assembly line slop like this. Now, the fact that I found this more annoying than Joy to the World is saying something. Maybe because at least with Joy to the World, I sensed a little bit of chemistry with the two leads. I sensed no chemistry with these two. Kate feels left out. She ends up meeting Chet, who instantly, is he's like a freaking golden retriever, just latching right onto her. A lot of golden retriever talk recently on this goddamn channel. Actually, in precisely 2 videos. And I think there were people that didn't understand that I was knocking the movie Playdate because Playdate to me just wasn't funny, and whether it was a parody, it wasn't a good parody. So, he's all over her already. Admittedly, Alicia Silverstone is a very beautiful woman, but still, reel it back a little bit, Chet. And everybody goes sledding. Chet goes there along with, and the soon-to-be uncoupled people crash on a sled. He, being a doctor, puts his hand under her shirt to test her ribs. Is she okay? Oh, it's just some bruising. But that just leads enough to where there's still that spark there. whatever, it's fine. And then she's going to fix the Tessa's deal, her sled. And she pours out a whole bunch of home economic stuff. You go sledding with a screwdriver, I go everywhere with a screwdriver. I felt like taking a screwdriver to my goddamn temple, or at least drinking a screwdriver. And I don't drink. So yeah, this movie drove me to drink. Look, the two dads thing was a nice touch. The problem is, it wasn't played like, okay, it's offensive. It wasn't played like they were stereotypical. They were two older guys that spent their lives together. Great. I'm not saying explore that necessarily, but it just feels like window dressing. It feels like, okay, we got to, make everybody happy. So let's just do this. So then we get a gingerbread making competition where she makes an entire gingerbread square thing. This is after we get some jealous, it's obvious that both are jealous of each other. Their new squeezes. And we get exposition. We get Everett talking about his gay parents and everything and this kind of stuff. And basically, she just finally snaps, breaks the stuff, reveals that she's leaving. And now people are shocked. She's also mentioned she has a bunch of solar panels on the goddamn house. Melissa Joan Hart pops in for like 3 scenes. I guess Sabrina the Teenage Witch doesn't have the powers that she used to have. And there wasn't Salem, the cat. That was the cat, right? I don't necessarily remember much. But everyone is happy that she's going on to pursue her dream, but they're sad that she's going to end up going. This kept going. This would not end. This is I think by the time the credits roll, it's like 84 minutes, and it feels like an eternity. And Alicia Silverstone helped executive produce this, which might explain why Netflix basically decided to make the snow and everything as fake as possible. So there were gifts that were passed around. First, they were handmade gifts. And that was nice. She made a hat for Tess and everything. And then she had lost her AirPods also in the sledding. So Kate got Everett a homemade grill, or an indoor grill, because that's something he liked to do. He got her perfume that he did basically from memory, a smell that he smelled forever, and he also got AirPods for Tess because she lost her AirPods. Kind of like that Love Actually thing where Alan Rickman, it was Alan Rickman that did that, wasn't it? Getting that seriously, for that secretary, for that for her, I need to rewatch Love Actually and see if it still pisses me off. Good movie, but it still pisses me off. But anyway, so we then have the gift exchange, not the invention exchange. And then there was this thing earlier that Nigel got that was like this little pot thing because Harry Potter where he almost could blow fire and had a little remote. And then there was another one that basically she got, but in the confusion, there was this little switch thing that Chet thought was for the keys, but like a dumb golden retriever, he keeps hitting that and eventually sets the thing on fire and decides that because he's an exotic dancer in his time off, because he mentions that several times for some reason, rips off his clothes and starts beating them with the stuff, but his eyebrows are singeing, and suddenly Gabe, the son, shows up with the fire extinguisher smartly because he wants to be a firefighter and does that. So, basically it's obvious that things aren't going to work out as far as Tess had left. Chet does like her. Kind of forces a kiss on her, a little bit weird, but I don't think he meant anything by it, but it's a little bit weird. But she basically says, look, you're a great guy, you're going to meet somebody. This thing limps along so much, and we still have like 20-something minutes left. So all this talk about Everett always being there at work, he was a workaholic because he felt he needed to dive into that. He took time off from work, saying everybody could go to another medical practice. And they do a scrapbook reading thing like they did as a tradition all the time. And there are so many things that don't work, but so many things that do in this house. Oh, it's like their relationship that they can reform and stuff like that. I get it. It's subtle, like a goddamn, Christmas bill of the head. It's fine. So anyway, Winter Storm knocks out all the power except their house, where their house has solar panels. Damn it, Rod. And all this power, and the neighbors show up there. Apparently the neighbors can all fit in the house. And I know it's a big house. but must be a really small town. So Tess wants to leave because she just can't compete. And she ends up getting in Chet's snowplow. That's not a euphemism. He also, he calls it the Big Leplowski. I admit that popped me. It shouldn't have, probably because I was just laughing to hide the pain. And they end up having everybody over there. And she, gets thanked by people because she helped them out a lot. And they're going to miss her. Gabe then does an essay, not on the fire chief, but on his mother, for inspiring him to be the good person and give back to the community. Which makes sense. She threw it into the fire also and hugged him. I don't know why she did that. But, well, I hope you liked it because it was my last copy, as there no other saved file. But she tells him to be a firefighter. Everett basically says, you know what, fuck it. I'll close my practice, take me to Boston. Well, I'm not going. So 1 year later, things are fine, and You Can Call Me Al plays them off. Yeah, that's it. That's a Merry Little Xmas. Merry Little Xmas tonight. I'm not going to do another song thing because I don't have the energy because I've done like 6 or 7 movies in the last day. So, yeah, F. I'm sorry, F. This is terrible. It's inoffensive, but it's just so terrible and banal. So, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Redland until we search for the spirit of Christmas again. Hopefully not distilled spirits like they were drunk by the people here. Happy trails to you.